This WWE Raw review is brought to you by the Ice Bucket Challenge. What? It's for charity. So we kick off the show with Stephanie McMahon coming out in Daniel Bryan's music, wearing the red shirt saying Steph, Steph, Steph. She cuts a promo talking about SummerSlam and how she humiliated Brie Bella, calling her the biggest loser in the match. She introduces Nikki. Nikki comes out, she cuts a promo and explaining the reason why she turned on her sister, and it was because of jealousy. And because Brie was always thinking about herself, she was always selfish and never about Nikki. Okay, it kind of makes sense in that area, but come on. Can the WWE be a little bit more creative in their storylines instead of having a very generic type of story with no substance at all? Even Nikki's acting was completely off here. It just felt like she was reading off a script instead of Nikki being Nikki. It was like someone told Nikki, alright, you gotta go out there, rush your lines because we gotta get to the other stuff. And that's what kind of came across like. She wasn't selling her emotions very well. It just felt very rushed. It was like she was reading off a script. It wasn't organic or natural. Just this really felt forced. When it came to Nikki Bella's acting here. And Brie was sort of a little better, but not quite. I thought her crying was really fake at the end after Nikki slapped her. This was just a poor execution of a first segment. I'm not really interested in this whole Nikki and Brie Bella storyline at all because of how they portray this on TV. Hats off to the people that are interested, but I really can't buy into it based on the performances that these two put on the first segment of the show. Not only that, this really set the tone, and I mean really set the tone, and this told me everything I need to know in terms of the rest of the show and how it's all going to come across as. So we get into the first match of the show, and that was the Big Show and Mark Henry taking on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan of the Wyatt family. And I'll get to the good stuff first. I thought this was a decent match. I really love Luke Harper. His athleticism is absolutely incredible. Eric Rowan body slamming Big Show is not impressive right now in 2014. I mean, it's one thing to lift up the Big Show, drag him, walk with him, and eliminate him over the top rope like Cesaro did at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania, but it's another thing to just body slam the guy. I was like, okay, no big deal. So overall, I thought this was an okay match, but my question here is, why even have this match to begin with? What is the purpose of this match? What is the meaning? What is the reason behind this match? I guess the answer would be to establish the Big Show and Mark Henry as a tag team, even though these are just two guys being thrown together, I guess. But overall, I really can't find any redeeming qualities from this match besides Luke Harper's athleticism. I have a lot of questions like, why is this filler type of match being the first match of the show coming off your first promo segment? A match that has no meaning is the first match? Wow, WWE. It seems like you're structuring the show very, very poorly and really early on, and to me this was a really early sign that I was in for a really bad show, and I was pretty much right about that. So Paige goes one-on-one with Natalya, and this match was already over before it got even started because out comes AJ Lee. She's skipping around the ring, cost Paige the match, and here I'm thinking, we've seen this recycled storyline stuff before. Come up with something different, WWE. Don't do the same thing over and over. I can't stand when the WWE does the same thing over and over and over and over, say over, and not do anything creative with this storyline. And to me, my interest level with this whole Divas title match is really starting to go down. And that's not a good sign, WWE. My interest level should be going up instead of going down. Do different things with these two divas. I know these two divas can put on a really good match and deliver a really good match, which is possibly going to happen in Night of Champions, but come on. Make me interested into seeing this match. Do different things with them. It's not really that hard to do. I mean, here you have AJ Lee and Paige trying to out-crazy each other, and here I'm thinking, why is AJ Lee still a crazy chick? I mean, when she was a heel, she can get away with doing crazy stuff, but now when she's a babyface, I think she really needs to step away with that and do more babyface things instead of heelish things. And when it comes to Paige, I don't mind her character. I think she could be a lot more evil. I hope that comes out even more. I hope the anti-diva comes out even more instead of this whole seductive kind of sensual diva with the HLA moments. So something is definitely off with this whole segment. It was very weird, very awkward. I wasn't really feeling it overall. And then we get into the promo segment where Triple H and Stephanie McMahon unveil the new WWE World Heavyweight title. Kind of looks the same. You know, some designs are a little different. It looks a little black. The things are on the side are different. It kind of looks like a Brock Lesnar type of logo, but overall it's still the same kind of belt that we're so used to seeing every week on the show. And on the bright side of it is that at least that we're not looking at two titles. Thank God for that. Thank God that they dropped the World Heavyweight Championship that looks like the old WCW Championship kind of belt. I'm glad that they dropped it because I just don't want to see a guy carrying around two titles. I just want to see one guy carrying one title to make that title actually look like the title instead of two titles, if you get what I'm saying. And when it comes to the whole idea of this promo, it actually played out very well. I have some nitpicky issues, but overall this came across very well. It was well presented on the part of the WWE, and I'll explain why. Here you have Triple H and Stephanie and Heyman and Lesnar in the ring, and before we get to Paul Heyman's promo, they're there and just standing there for photos and stuff like that. It was kind of a genius, you know, kind of sticking it to the fans that we have a new champion and seeing it's not. Ha! Deal with it. But be very careful, WWE, what you're going to do with Brock Lesnar, and I'll explain that in just a bit after I talk about Heyman's promo. I thought Heyman's promo was actually really good. It wasn't the best Paul Heyman promo as per se when it comes to what he said, but his delivery was absolutely incredible. He never fails to deliver in a very well promo. I love how he speaks really slow. He's very articulate. He is just really fluent in his speech and his words, the way he pronounces his words in the ring. He's excellent. He can never do no wrong. I mean, Nikki Bella really should be taking lessons from Paul Heyman. That is how bad she is. Oh, Christ. But getting back to here, I thought that Paul Heyman putting over John Cena, I didn't really like that because I wanted to see more of Paul Heyman plug the whole idea of Brock Lesnar is the dominant guy, which he did. I just didn't like him putting over John Cena because, you know, he's basically not around anymore. And he was doing the whole cheap plug of $9.99, which was kind of stupid to begin with anyway. But like I said, this really delivered. To me, this was one of the one or two or three redeeming qualities that came out of this 3-hour show. And that was Paul Heyman. And like I said before, I hope the WWE is careful here. I mean, Brock Lesnar just destroyed John Cena at SummerSlam. He defeated the streak, and if anyone can destroy the top guy like that in John Cena, who can beat Brock Lesnar? Just think about that for a second. He beat the streak, he beat Cena. Who the heck beats this guy? This guy's pretty much unstoppable right now. And here's the thing, you know the whole subliminal message of Brock Lesnar doing the whole 16 German suplexes? It won't surprise me that the WWE will give the title back to John Cena at Night of Champions. It won't surprise me at all. It won't surprise me if Brock Lesnar retains, because to me he should retain the title for a long period of time because he did squash John Cena. So I hope the WWE is very careful, and I hope the fans are very careful of what they want to see, because you know that old saying goes, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And then we get into the rematch for the Intercontinental Championship between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. And overall, I thought this match was clearly not as good as their match at SummerSlam. I felt like this match was forced to rush its way through in order to get to the main event. That's what I felt like coming off of this Intercontinental Championship match. As far as The Miz winning via countout, I thought that was a little weird, because why would you have Dolph Ziggler win the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam only to have him lose the next night in no matter what shape or form the way he lost? I thought that was off. Even with the whole count out idea, I like the idea of someone winning or losing via count out. I think it should have been the other way around. It should have been The Miz that gets counted out rather than Dolph Ziggler, because it protects Ziggler and The Miz, both of them, instead of having just The Miz being protected and saying, oh, he's still in contention. He technically won the match, but he technically didn't win the Intercontinental Championship. And so, with that being said, I think that the WWE kind of screwed up the result of this match. It should have been Dolph Ziggler winning this match via countout. And usually it is the heel that loses via countout, so why have The Miz win when he could have lost via countout? It's just a whole lot of questions that really puzzled me throughout this entire match. But overall, like I said, it was just an okay match. It wasn't as good as their match at SummerSlam. However, there were some good moments in the match where you had Dolph Ziggler selling the knee injury and The Miz really working on it. That, to me, was the only good thing that I got out of this match. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people like the fact that Cesaro won a match here against Jack Swagger and not looking like a jobber jabroni. And I get it and I understand that. But to me, how I view this and how the WWE presented this match is that this was more about Jack Swagger losing than Cesaro winning. Because after Cesaro won, he got the heck out of there, and Jack Swagger was left in the ring selling his emotions about him not winning his match at SummerSlam, and how he doesn't have Zeb Coulter with him at ringside to give him the motivation that he wants. And what I like here is that Bo Dallas came out after that happened, and he was trying to get Jack Swagger to get up off his feet. And he basically said, Swagger, you suffered a great loss. You're a disappointment to America and all of 318 million people. All you have to do is believe. And he's over with the fans. So I think that's really enjoyable for Bo Dallas here. Hopefully they have something great for Bo Dallas leading up with this feud, maybe, with Jack Swagger. So we'll see how that goes. And then we get into the 6-man tag team match on Raw, and that was Randy Orton teaming up with Ryback, taking on Roman Reigns, Sheamus, and Rob Van Dam. And I thought overall this was a fun and enjoyable, very standard 6-man tag team match. I like that Ryback actually got a lot of love in this match because, yes, this was his hometown of Las Vegas. I love that the fans were just cheering for this guy. Free me more. Ryback rules. We want Ryback. All that stuff. It's great to see that Ryback is finally getting that love again, and I hope this continues for Ryback. Maybe it's time to start changing and mixing things up again with Ryback. Put him on a path where he needs to be instead of what he is right now. And the same thing really goes with a lot of guys on the show, like Curtis Axel. I mean, he hasn't been the same since he lost the Intercontinental Championship. So really, the WWE really screwed the pooch on him, and I hope they put him on the right path as well. Maybe the logical thing to do is to split these two teams up. However, with all that said, there were some issues I felt to me that came off across very weird in this match. One thing, Roman Reigns just came off a feature match against Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Why book him in a 6-man tag team match the following night? Why not give him something more meaningful? Why not give Randy Orton something more meaningful? Why sit there and have Sheamus and Rob Van Dam fill the spots for his team where you could have had Goldust and Stardust to fill in that spot? That way you can incorporate the New Nation to take on the Usos in a non-title match. There's just so many things that the WWE could have done a lot different with this match and the following match after that. But with all that said, I do want to talk about a couple of things here. One thing is that Ryback, yes, he got a love. He got the good reaction from the crowd. That probably won't last. And another thing is Roman Reigns. I mean, I actually like Roman Reigns, but I don't like the idea of the mega push of Roman Reigns. This could go ugly in a hurry. I mean, you look at Ryback, where he is now. The same thing could happen to Roman Reigns. You just don't know. This could end up hurting Roman Reigns as a not as a character, but as someone who's being pushed to the moon, because that's what the WWE is doing with him. Just be very careful with Roman Reigns, please. I don't want to end this too abruptly for him. Slow it down, WWE. Have him progress a lot more smoother and not so quick. Be very careful, because already the fans are not really fully accepting him. And I don't know if that will ever happen. I hope that happens, but I do have my doubts. And like I said, this can go bad and the WWE won't know what hit them. So we then get into a non-title tag team match between the Usos and Gold Stars, I like to call them, Cody Rhodes, aka Stardust, and Goldust. And this was an okay anticlimactic match for both of these teams. It kind of ended really weird when you had one of the Usos getting pinned and the other Uso was on the apron. It's almost like they're teasing an Uso split, even though I don't think they should really go there. I mean, it's bad enough that the WWE is concentrating on a Bella versus Bella. It would just totally suck if they do an Uso versus Uso match. It would just be way too confusing. So I hope that they keep the Usos as they are, as a tag team. And as much as I like the idea of Goldust and Stardust facing the Usos for the tag team titles somewhere down the road, I don't see them winning. This is just one of those showcase matches for the Usos to go over another team until the Ascension comes up. And the funny thing is, while I was watching this match take place, it was kind of awkward seeing that the fans were really, really quiet during the match. A match where you have two babyface teams and the fans were hardly responding to this match at all, only up until the last couple of minutes. Very, very awkward to say the very least. And then we get into this segment where Rusev and Lana came out and Lana cut her typical promo and then she got cut off by Mark Henry. And this is where the shit went down. This was awesome. Mark Henry was gold on the microphone, telling Lana to shut up, and I like how she responded, and I like that they made Lana as an intimidating woman here without fully crying and hiding in the corner. She was just reacting the best way she knew how. She was great. Mark Henry was great on the microphone. And then the big face-off with Rusev and Mark Henry. And then Rusev attacks first. And then Mark Henry nails the World's Strongest Slam. And then the big splash following that. This is definitely a feud I can get behind. Because you're establishing that Rusev is going to face a former world champion. And with the likely scenario of Rusev going over Mark Henry. And that's the reason why I like this feud. And I like how the WWE has been slowly progressing Rusev as a character. It's not like they're pushing him way too fast like a Ryback or a Roman Reigns. They're pushing him slowly, bit by bit. The progression is very, very smooth. He faced the lower carders to mid carders to where he's at now with Mark Henry. I love what they're doing. As much as I don't like Rusev as a character, I like how the WWE is pushing Rusev. My only nitpicky issue with this segment is that earlier in the show we saw the Big Show and Mark Henry team up to take on the Wyatt family. And so what was the point of that match when you're going to do this here? That's still confusing to me. And then we get into the main event of the show, and that was Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in the Falls Count Anywhere match. And going into this match, I really liked the setup of it. That was really good. You had the whole Dean Ambrose attacking Seth Rollins segment early on in the show, and then you had Seth Rollins barging in Triple H's door, said that he wants a match against Dean Ambrose later on tonight, and Triple H tells Seth Rollins that the fans will decide what the stipulation is going to be. Falls Count Anywhere, no disqualification, or no holds barred. My only nitpicky issue with that is that they're pretty much the same. Very similar in aspects. So, and even with that being said, we pretty much got everything in this match anyway. Even though that the fans called it Falls Count Anywhere. And I really enjoyed the heck out of this match. Even though it was poor use of the stipulation, they could have incorporated a lot more Falls Count Anywhere moments in this match like they have done in the past. So I was kind of disappointed in that area where they didn't use that stipulation too much. But I like that they really incorporated the other two stipulations because we were going to get those anyway. Oh man, this was great. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't outstanding, but man, what a big fight these two guys had. There were great moments in this match. You had the suplex on the ramp. You had the top rope suplex diving onto the table. And that awesome moment where you had the running power bomb through the bunch of chairs, landing on them. Just imagine JR calling this match and how big of a big deal he would make this. Woo, I would have bone chills right now just thinking about it. And the other little issue I have with this match is Kane. Because to me, Kane is so uninteresting and just not interesting at all. He kind of ruined this match to me. Him coming out, helping out Seth Rollins. I wish that Seth Rollins would win clean on his own, even though he technically did. You know, Kane was just there for support for Rollins, but come on. I mean, if you want to establish Seth Rollins as your Money in the Bank briefcase holder, have him win clean without any interference from the Authority. Please. So, with all that being said, I thought this main event on this show was damn good. Besides of the nitpicking moments that I had throughout this entire match. These two guys delivered in the ring. This was great. You had that moment where Kane chokeslammed Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, curb step on Dean Ambrose, onto the announce table, and he went one step further. You had the what looked like cement bricks, and he put his head through them with the curse stop. And Dean Ambrose sold that moment very well. Perfection. Like he was dead. Oh, just imagine JR calling that. By God, he's dead. Seth Rollins went too far. What have you done, you son of a beep? That would have been great to see. So overall, like I said, what a strong way to end off a show when a show kind of felt mediocre all the way through. This was definitely not one of the best Raws that I've seen. It's hard to deliver a really good and solid 3-hour show when the first 2 hours of the show really dragged on and the third hour kind of picked up. So like I said, overall this was a mediocre show at best. I would rate this show maybe a 5 or a 5.10. It's not one of the most memorable shows of all time, only for the main event. So, with all that being said, if you saw this episode of Raw, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can even follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter. As well, you can like us on Facebook at the Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And on a final note to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.